The qualifying session for the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix just took place, and boy, do we have an exciting starting grid. And I'm not just talking about Max Verstappen and George Russell starting side to side after their shenanigans in Spain. There are plenty of drivers who are starting side by side who are going to spice up the first lap and the entire race. Charles Leclerc obviously disappointed after qualifying P8. He believes that the car could have been on pole. Lewis Hamilton is also confident with the pace of the Ferrari and he is targeting for a podium. He also targeted for a podium in the Spanish Grand Prix and finished P6, so we will talk a little bit about that. The other Red Bull driver, Yuki Tsunoda, his run of bad luck continues and now he is going to start P20 for the main race. Another driver from the Red Bull family, Isaac Hadjar, he is also getting a 3-place grid penalty after impeding Carlos Sainz during the qualifying sessions. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But the most important thing here is the phenomenal starting grid for the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix. Obviously, George Russell and Max Verstappen are going to put on a massive show. I hope these two motherfuckers crash. George Russell, right after the qualifying has finished, right after he got out of the car, he said that he has a few more extra penalty points buffer to play. Something along those lines. He's ready to throw down against Max Verstappen. And I was taking a look at the race starts from the previous Spanish Grand Prix, and it seems that the pole sitter has an advantage, even though while going into the first chicane, the guy in B2 will have the inside line. So it depends. Max Verstappen can steal the lead from George Russell as well, but at the same time, George Russell, with little to lose, he's probably going to put it all on the line. It's not like Max Verstappen gives a shit about a potential race ban anyway. It doesn't matter. He is Max Verstappen. He doesn't give a shit. Another pairing that is very exciting are Oscar Piastri and Kimi Antonelli, because these two guys have unfinished business since the 2025 Miami Grand Prix sprint race. So in the 2025 Miami sprint, Kimi Antonelli got pole position and Oscar Piastri was P2. And during the run into turn one, Oscar had the inside line, due to which he pushed Antonelli outside. We all remember this amazing moment, and Antonelli remembered that this knowledge, this experience is going to be vital going into the future. And for the Canadian Grand Prix, he is going to be on the inside line for the first chicane. Oscar Piastri will have the the inside line to the first turn into the chicane, I guess. But after that, it's Kimi Antonelli all the way. So if he keeps up with Oscar Piastri around the outside of the first turn, the technical first turn, when exiting the chicane, it could go into Kimi's favor. We will see how it turns out. It seems that the McLarens are not as dominant as they were in the previous Grand Prix, but Oscar Piastri, considering Russell and Verstappen are in front of him, who could get into a crash or who could lose some speed while battling each other for P1, Oscar Piastri can definitely get some opportunistic move and move to the lead of the race. Who knows? After that, we got Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. These two guys definitely have a lot of history, considering they're two oldest drivers on the grid. Also, in the 2023 Canadian Grand Prix, Hamilton overtook Fernando Alonso in the beginning of the race, and then Fernando Alonso overtook Lewis Hamilton towards the end of the race. Lewis was in Mercedes at the time, and this time these two guys are definitely going to put on a show. Fernando Alonso especially is going to be aggressive around the outside in turn one and in the inside in the first chicane. So he is definitely looking forward to overtaking Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari. It's gonna be fun, but Hamilton, as this article says, is looking forward to score a podium. This happened in Spain. In Spain, Lewis said that he's gonna be gunning for a podium. And now look, maybe in Canada he has found something in the car. Maybe he is more confident in the car. Perhaps the race pace of the Ferrari is pretty good. And also, Charles Leclerc is very confident. He made some mistakes during the qualifying session. He could have been on pole, according to his own words. So it'll be interesting to see if the Ferraris put on a fight, because Leclerc and Norris, these are the two people who fucked up during their qualifying session. Lando Norris, when under pressure, he makes this type of mistakes. He pushes the car a bit too much and ends up losing a lot of time. So this one is kind of a little bit predictable. Charles Leclerc doesn't usually make that much qualifying mistakes, and it's kind of weird seeing him behind Lewis Hamilton after a qualifying session. Either way, if both of the Ferraris have the performance that they think they do, then it's going to be fun in the race, considering Russell and Verstappen start. Now, anything can happen in the start of the race. Maybe both of them will have clean getaways, P1 and P2, and nothing will happen. But also, maybe these two guys will crash. Max Verstappen will get a race ban for Austria. Lewis Hamilton P3, and Charles Leclerc maybe a top 5 finish. Who knows? Now, the other Red Bull driver, he has been suffering a lot. And recently, Yuki Tsunoda was forced to do some content with Twitch streamers, which is torture. And now the run of bad luck continues into the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix. So after overtaking Oscar Piastri during red flag conditions in third practice session, the stewards have decided to give Yuki the best penalty ever, which is a 10-second grid penalty for the main race. Yuki explained that Oscar was driving 80 kilometers an hour and he was behind him, and being behind him was more dangerous. Oscar Piastri had a puncture after a crash in practice 3. How trailing behind a damaged car is actually more dangerous. I don't agree with that justification. It's a bunch of bullshit. And I know that this bullshit explanation would piss off Helmut Marko even more. So Yuki can forget about renewing his contract by the end of this year. I also said this in a previous video that Yuki is leaving Formula One very likely at the end of 2025 season. It's just that it's happening in a very painful and slow way. Every subsequent Grand Prix is exposing that Yuki cannot perform, just like every other second Red Bull driver. For the main race, Yuki will probably not even score a point, so there is no point talking about that. But let's talk about Isaac Hadjar. He qualified P9, which is better than Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. Like, Yuki naturally qualified in P11, so he's better than that. Liam Lawson is like P17, P18, fucking around somewhere. This 3-place grid penalty doesn't mean shit. Isaac has the pace, and if he makes a couple of positions at the beginning of the race, he can definitely be right in the points. And I am predicting he's going to score points for the Canadian Grand Prix, considering his pace and considering how comfortable he's getting with the car and how he is also helping the team determine the strategy. So the only other driver from the Red Bull family who is putting in consistent performance other than Max Verstappen is Isaac Hadjar. So the worst thing that can happen to Isaac right now is him getting promoted to Red Bull, which is actually a demotion, and be the next sacrifice to whatever ghost that keeps powering Max Verstappen. But let's talk about the last few points positions, last couple of point positions, which is P9 and P10. The drivers from Alexander Albon all the way to Carlos Sainz, these motherfuckers are going to put on a great fight because they are obviously all scrapping for points. Alexander Albon, he is on phenomenal form this season. Franco Colapinto, probably the best chance for him to prove to Flavio Briatore that he belongs in the fucking team. He had a few rough weekends, to put it lightly, a lot of crashes, a lot of mistakes, like inability to extract the maximum performances out of the car, you name it. Franco has been through a lot in the recent Grand Prix, so he's definitely looking to go ahead and prove himself to the top dogs in Alpine, but it's not going to be easy because around him are Nico Hulkenberg, Isaac Hadjar, Oliver Behrman, who is also a motherfucker. I don't remember which race it was. I think it was after China, somewhere after China. Probably Bahrain, whatever it is. Oliver Behrman started P20 and finished P10. It is not in Bahrain. Wherever it was, I keep forgetting that. But Oliver Behrman is also a motherfucker to deal with. After that, you got Esteban Ocon. Either he is good or either he's shit. So we will find out when the race begins. Gabriel Bortoleto definitely has pace, but he has kind of struggled to impress during the Grand Prix. Then we have Carlos Sainz, the smooth operator. He is a little bit like Esteban Ocon in the sense that if he finds the rhythm in the car, he's going to tear through the field. But if he doesn't, it's just going to be a shit race for him. And also he is around Lance Stroll, so there's going to be a little bit of risk to safely make it out of the first lap of the race. But from Alexander Albon all the way to Esteban Ocon, there's going to be a melee between these six drivers for the last 2 point scoring positions. If Franco Colapinto gets a point out of this, it's gonna be mega. The amount of respect he's gonna get from the team and Flavio Briatore is gonna be phenomenal and great for his career, but it's not gonna be easy. It's a golden opportunity for the Argentinian driver, considering Pierre Gasly is P19. But I guess we will see how the race pans out. Yuki Tsunoda will probably finish like P14 or something, and he will be one step closer to getting fired from Formula One because Helmut Marko doesn't like this type of bullshit. They're just wasting resources. In their mind, Liam Lawson is at least P20 on merit, but Yuki Tsunoda, even though he's meritoriously a better driver, he somehow finds his way to the back of the grid. He somehow, crashes into other people. He somehow does this type of dumb low IQ mistakes, which he has been doing since his AlphaTauri Toro Rosso days. A lot of people will disagree with me when I say this, but Yuki is a little bit error prone. So, shame on Yuki, not shame on Yuki, but like sad for Yuki because his Formula One stint is coming to an end. Liam Lawson in his rightful place. I'm very excited for George Russell and Max Verstappen going to turn one in the first chicane. So, thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.